we're getting interest from throughout the state of California, Washington, Arizona. So it's becoming more than just our local 5-county area. So it might be an opportunity to you don't even have to submit a proposal if you want to, if you guys want to put something together that I can share at the various events. And this week I'm working all in Montana. We haven't had any Montana applicants for the past few years, but it might be something that I will include in my presentations to those Montana students, because we're kind of the same. The students from Montana, if they come to Humboldt, there's not going to be much of a change for them. So there's an opportunity there as well.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds great. Also, Leo, of course, there's going to be a Zoom recording of what we do today, and that might be of some use to you.
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
Okay, what do you think, Aaron? Should we start now or wait until we have a few more people? Looks like we've got about 10 or so undergrads so far.
Maybe let's wait just a minute or two.
Okay, well, all right, let's make small talk.
I'll make a couple small talk comments. I also, this was not sent out to the Humboldt State University's Council of American Indian Faculty and Staff, which is made up of the 40 Native people who work on campus, who interact with students in various capacities on a daily basis. So I just sent that out less than 5 minutes ago to the entire group,
okay,
as well as to my own personal Facebook account, where I have contacts with hundreds of Native educators throughout the state. And so I just, again, it was only 5 minutes ago. And so
yeah. All right.
it would be a good idea just to wait, do some more small talk.
Okay. Leo, I apologize. It didn't occur to me to make sure that they found out about this.
It's okay. It's work in progress.
Yeah.
We're going to just keep moving forward together.
For that matter, I forgot that we now have Jillian helping us out with, or taking care of the undergrad freshman advising. And I didn't send it to her either. I just said it like, I think a half hour ago. It suddenly dawned on me, oh my God, Jillian's part of the department now. So I don't know if she'll show up either, with a little warning.
And I do actually want to say, if any of you guys are talking with potential students and they have questions of transferring as transfer students from community college or first-time freshmen, or any of the students who are currently on the call. Well, I guess the current students are in good shape, but anybody who's talking to any kind of potential recruits, if you have questions or if they have questions, definitely send them my way.
Okay, we will. By God, there's Jillian. So I didn't tell her about it too late. You must live on your email, Jillian. We can't hear you.
You're just muted.
Yeah, I'm here. Have I missed something?
Not yet. We're making small talk. We're
Okay. All right.
building up to that critical mass of undergraduates.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. A few people here. Cool.
Well,
I can do another small talk joke.
Okay, hit us.
Let's hear it.
What did the acorn say when he grew up? It's a math joke, but it's also relevant. What did the acorn say when he grew up? Gee, I'm a tree. Geometry.
Oh, geometry.
Oh, that's awful.
It is.
That's really bad.
I told you it was a math joke. If it was a math meeting, they would all laugh.
I just came out of physics, so
It's so bad.
I don't want to hear the M word. I'm still kind of like flustered from it.
Well, I'm
Okay.
just going to grab some water. I'll be right back.
Okay, goodbye, Jillian.
Be right back. Really.
How long is the Motivation Day event going to be, Leo?
So that's a good question, because in all the recruitment that we're doing in our department, we're scheduled generally when we go out to recruit, we're scheduled for 2 or 3 hour sessions, but now with the online and people coming at their own leisure or pleasure or whatever it is, we have typically 2 or 3 hours dedicated, but now it's like 1 or 2 students will show up in an hour and a half time period. So we need to restructure how we're doing our recruitment, because it's not assigned. People are going, it's just, oh my gosh. Of course, we're working from home, so my kids are, hey, get out.
Hey, you and
I
me
got an
both,
11,
man.
I got an 11, a 6, a 4, and a 2, and they just, so it's unfortunate. Like, this is our heavy time of recruitment. It's across the board. Every single institution is dealing with, like today, like I said, this week I'm in Montana all week, and I have 5 hours on my schedule today, and I met with only 2 students. And so what I'm going to propose to the director is we need to figure out a way. Like, one of the things that I want to suggest is to do in the Office of Admissions, if we can do, like, every Friday, all 6 of us admissions counselors can do this is for first-time freshmen, instant admissions on Friday for 4 hours. Bring your transcript, let us review it. Instant admit on the spot, whatever your major is, and because we don't stand out. Like, if that's online format, like if you look at the screen that we're all looking at right now, you're going to have Berkeley, you're going to have Davis, you're going to have Cal Poly, you're going to have this weird institution called Humboldt, and nobody's going to want to open that up. And usually, if somebody walks by a table, hey, what's up? You didn't even ask about Humboldt. Get over here, bro. Come on, don't you know about this and that and that? So we can't stand out as much as in person as we can online, because usually it's just a photo of Humboldt State. And nobody, like, most people don't know about Humboldt State unless they're really doing their research and they have a specific thing that they want to focus on. So it's a struggle for us to be able to highlight who we are and what we do. So we need to step outside, and we're all, like you guys all know, we're all doing the same thing. We have to step outside the regular way of how we're operating and force ourselves in the forefront. And so that's a conversation that we need to have. And this might be one of those opportunities, this conversation that we're having tonight, to just start plugging in with the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. And like, there's a lot of potential, but it's at the same time, it's something that we've never experienced before. So we just have to flip the way we do things.
I was actually trying to get a hold of somebody for this event, because I'm an American Indian College Fund ambassador, on a national platform, and they wanted me to reach out to you and see if
and Molly,
they could sponsor like the event or somehow get involved, whether that's through an ambassador or not.
Yeah, we can schedule if we can work together to where you can do like a 3 to 5 minute presentation or a 15-minute, however much time you need, and you can talk to all the, I think it's gonna, well, I hope it's gonna be like more than 400. I hope it's gonna be like 700 or 800 Native American students who will be in attendance from throughout the Western United States. And so if you want to put something together, we will post it, or we'll put you on the agenda.
Yeah,
like you can do a 3 or 5 minute, because with these kids, like these kids who are coming out of high school, and I know that there's college students on the call, but the kids who are coming out of high school, they have a 3-second attention span. You need to hook them right away. You need to get them. So if we can introduce them, and at the end of the presentation, say, for more information, we can do a more in-depth whatever to really get them, those who are really interested. And so we'll have a conversation about how we're going to work together to make that happen. But
yeah,
for sure, we'll make room for you.
If me and you and Drew Bledsoe sat and like talked through email or in person, you might be able to like kind of plug the event through their platform and get it out to natives all over. And they're kind of like open to like use their platform like that if it's for education and higher education, and like encouraging people to take that path.
Cool.
Okay, we should get started.
End of the small talk.
Yeah, end of the small talk. Now comes the big talk.
All right.
So what we're going to do during the next hour is as follows. We're going to have 6 speakers, 5 of whom will be very quick, say 5 minutes each. And that'll include me with a general introduction. We'll have Erin Kelly from the Forestry Department talking about the curriculum. Katja Risling-Baldy, the head of the Native American Studies Department here, will discuss the importance of this concentration for Native American communities, not just in our area, but generally across the West. Turns out Katja has a familial background in forestry. She's had quite a few relatives who've been involved in the logging industry. And we will also have Niavita Bueno-Watts talking about resources available on campus for Native students. And then Tanea Wood, who played a role in putting this program together. She graduated last year, and she'll give us a quick talk about the Trex expedition out to the Yurok lands for prescribed burning last spring, I guess it was. And then the long talk we're going to hear today will be from Chris Villaruel. He's an undergrad here at HSU, and he spent the summer working with the Hoopa as a forester. So he'll talk about that experience. So, and then we'll have 20 minutes or so for questions from everyone. So getting started, my interest in all this began about 15 years ago. I was in Canada. I was a professor in Eastern Canada. And at one point, I ended up being asked by the Cree First Nations. The Cree are one of the larger tribes in central Quebec, a Canadian province, and they were asking me about a proposal to do some salvage on a recent burn, a proposal coming from a forestry company, and so I gave them what advice I thought they should do. But I remember I asked them, well, don't you have anyone here on staff who does forestry and could answer these questions? And it turns out they didn't. They said just generally, Native reservations within Canada did not have the kind of expertise they needed. They almost always had to go outside to get it. And then later, about 4 years later, I was working up near the Arctic Ocean and was looking at revegetation of seismic lines on lands that belong to the Inuit. And I saw the same thing there, this tendency to not have access to expertise, to have to import it. So from those experiences, I learned three things about Native American attitudes towards natural resources. And of course, I could have read books to learn this, but this was how I found out. And the first, of course, I've already mentioned, this lack of access to expertise. The second was a very different motivation for natural resource management. It isn't just about lumber, although they'll happily take some revenue from that. It's about all the other resources that have been traditionally and currently drawn from the forest. And the third thing was this extraordinary embrace of the precautionary principle. That I never even heard that phrase from any of the Native Canadians I spoke to, but it's an apt phrase. It describes the attitude towards the land. If their management consisted of, first and foremost, asking the question, will this benefit the great-great-grandchildren I will never meet? That sense of time as a thread that passes from ancestors to descendants, which is something that I'm not at all familiar with, having grown up in an Anglo culture. And so I found this a very stimulating and different attitude towards natural resource management. When I arrived in California 7 years ago, it was the same story here. So then I began talking with Erin Kelly and with Katja about a concentration in our department that could help to fill this gap for what are a very important group of people in this state. So, and then along with an undergraduate student here, Tanea Wood, whom you'll hear from later, we developed the draft of a curriculum. And then Kutcha began shopping that curriculum draft around to local Native organizations and got quite a bit of feedback, which then went into the final product, the final version of the curriculum. In particular, as Kutcha talked about this with the Wiyot and the Yurok and the Hoopa and other groups, it was clear the centrality of the concept of indigenous sovereignty was something that we had to get across in this curriculum. It had to be the core of the curriculum. So the final version was then sent off to the body that examines these things at HSU, and they were pretty happy with it, and it raced through the system. And so the concentration officially began when the fall semester began. So we thought it would be appropriate now to have an orientation and tell you all about it and see what you think. So one last point is, and just in case some of the other speakers touch on this concentration meets all the requirements for accreditation through the Society of American Foresters. So that means any student who graduates with this concentration rather than the other 5 concentrations within the department, that student is considered an accredited forester and could apply for all the same jobs that any of the other students in forestry would apply for. They're no different. You know, we have one student in the fire concentration. They know a little bit more about fire, this sort of thing. But they only know a little bit more. By contrast, because of a judicious use of all your GE courses, you will know quite a bit more about Native American culture than, for example, the hydrology students know about fluvial processes. So just in case you thought to yourself, oh my God, if I go into this concentration, that means I'm routinized. I have to end up working on a reservation. No, if you change your mind, you don't have to. You can take a more normal sort of forestry job. But keep in mind that even what we'll call more normal jobs, especially in the West, national forests are often abutting reservations and working hand in hand with local reservations. And therefore your expertise would be quite welcome to your new employer. Okay, so shall we start? I guess I didn't even remember what the order was. I'm sorry. Was it Aaron or Kutcha would be next? Or did I not?
Next, and then me.
Okay.
I'll do the order.
Okay, you want to start it?
Yeah, I can go next. Hey gang, everyone. Kutcha Risling Baldi Ahoye. I am Dr. Kutcha Risling Baldi. I'm the Department Chair of Native American Studies. I'm also Hoopa, York, and Kaduk, all the 3 largest tribes here in Northern California. I am enrolled in the Hoopa Valley tribe and grew up in this region. And one thing I will say about the Tribal Forestry Concentration that I'm very excited about is the grounding that students who decide to take this concentration are going to get in tribal sovereignty, self-determination, and decolonization, and this approach to how we build better science that actually thinks about the world that we live in today, understanding that indigenous knowledges are so important to that. And we're seeing that right now in real time. Like we're on fire, like we're all like literally on fire right now. And the discussions that we're having is about indigenous management of forests and forest areas that could help us to think about this long-term in response to what should we do so that we can all live in a world where we don't have to have this period of time where everything is so destroyed at this one moment, right? And I get really excited about that because there's so much scholarship and research coming out of indigenous people's spaces that really support like what this could mean for all of us to have better like science that actually is informed by thousands upon thousands of years of knowledge. And I will say this, some of the people that I talked to were really excited, and part of it is because I actually get paid quite a lot of money sometimes to go and talk to forestry people in their organizations, because they're like, we don't know anything about tribes. And now that we're graduated, we have all these people who have no training, no background, and no idea. So can you come and train them real quick on how to be good foresters working with tribes. And I always say to them, you know, if you just had a requirement that your workers had to take some type of Native American Studies classes before they signed up, or if you made it a policy that if you have a tribal forestry background or you've taken a Native American Studies major or minor that you're going to get priority for getting jobs, you wouldn't have to pay me all this money to come and teach you all the things that you should have already learned. And instead you should hire these people. And I've had more than one group say, like more than one say, that's what we're going to do. We're going to prioritize the applicants and the people who already pursued this knowledge and who already wanted this to be a part of what they were doing. So I know that this is the next thing that they're looking for. This is the thing that they want, because anywhere you go, you're going to be dealing with indigenous peoples, indigenous tribes, and indigenous lands, especially when it comes to forested lands. We are the people now. I mean, now looking at the way development and things have worked, we are the people now with the largest areas of forestry areas, places that we're managing. And I think you're going to get a really great background in like how to work in a community facing way that actually informs better relationships so that you can do bigger, better things than we've ever imagined. And I look forward to how we're all going to do that together. So you can always email me if you have questions about NAS. I teach the Indigenous Natural Resource Management Practices course, but the courses that are included in the curriculum, broad spectrum, you're going to get a lot, you're going to learn a lot. And maybe you'll walk out being like, wow, I'm really ready. I'm really ready to do this work in a really meaningful way. So thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, Katja brings up something that I forgot to mention. So there's all this desire for the expertise, but there's no one training students. The only 4-year program like what we've got here now is at the Native College in Western Montana called Salish Kootenai, and they only graduate about 5 kids a year. And I'm told that those 5 tend to just stay local in Western Montana or adjacent Idaho. It's not doing natives any good in the rest of the West. Okay, so Erin, do you want to talk about the curriculum?
I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully I have too many things open right now, just a sec. So hopefully everybody can see the curriculum slide that I have up right now. So I'm going to be advising students who choose to do the Tribal Forestry Concentration, and I'm really excited about this because I think it's this incredible opportunity for students who want to bridge questions about natural resource management and indigenous knowledge, and it's really multidisciplinary. So it takes the kind of natural resource management and sort of science-focused forestry curriculum. And as David says, it has all the core forestry components that you need to be like to call yourself a forester. And then it adds a lot of classes within NAS and a lot of especially policy, social science, and law classes. So there's this mix of classes specific to this option, beginning with 100 level classes. And not all of these are standalone. So a lot of these actually double count with GE courses. And one thing is, it's probably best to commit to this option fairly early on, just because you do have to start taking classes at the 100 level. But of course, we can work wherever students are at. So at the 100 level, you take Anthropology 105, and then NAS, or Native American Studies 104 and 200. And then in the upper division, you start taking Intro to Fishery Biology and Fire Ecology. And then you get to take all these incredible upper division NAS courses that, I mean, absolutely make me wish that I could go back to college again. So there's NAS 331, which is Indigenous Natural Resource Management Practices. And then there's 3 classes where you get to choose between 2. So NAS 361 or NAS 362 about tribal sovereignty, tribal governance. There's NAS 364 or NAS 365, which focus on federal Indian law. And then NAS 468, which is about tribal justice, or NAS 325, which is about kind of cultural practices of native tribes in California. So this curriculum, you know, really places you in a good place to understand both forestry and key concepts of tribal sovereignty, policies and governance, and indigenous knowledge. And students are more than welcome to talk to me about interest in the concentration, and I'll always try and work with your schedules and see if there's a way to make this fit. But especially for students who are kind of new to the forestry degree or new to HSU, I think this is a really incredible option. And yeah, I hope to talk to lots of you.
Okay, thank you, Erin. Tanea? Oh, wait. Sorry. Niavita. That's it. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Niavita Bueno Watts, and I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about some of the additional resources that are available here, particularly for Native students. So I'm the director of the INTERCEPT program, which is Indian Natural Resources Science and Engineering program, plus diversity in STEM. So we mentor students that are in the College of Natural Resources and Sciences, particularly those from backgrounds that are not traditionally found in the sciences, and with an emphasis on Native ways of knowing and mixing with science, and trying to do that in a way that respects your culture and mixes in with science. And so we do a lot of things like connecting you to resources and research opportunities, do some academic career counseling, and help you over some bumps in the road that you might come into. And there's also a program if you decide that you want to go on to graduate school. We also have a program called CSU LZAMP, which works to help get you ready for graduate programs and help to get admittance into a graduate program if that's what you decide you want to do. Another program that we have here on campus is the ITEP program, and that is a cultural center for Native students, and they do a lot of cultural activities. A lot of our students go to both ITEP and INTERCEPT. So there's a lot of going back and forth to those two places. They're both great programs with a little bit different focus. And then if you are an incoming freshman, we do have something called place-based learning communities. They are grounded also in the Native American studies. And that's called the Klamath Connection for those students that are in forestry, as well as many other different disciplines. And it is a way of grounding you as a first-year student and getting to know some people when you first get here, and getting introduced to the local area and the local cultures. So those are some of the things that are available here for Native students and for other students as well. And we hope you will join us. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Niavita. Okay, now Tanea.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I'm out on the North Complex helping manage a helibase. So if it gets a little loud, sorry, I'll try not to. All right, so I graduated last year out of the forestry program, Wildland Fire Management, and I did minors in ecological restoration and Native American studies. And as David already kind of explained, I helped write this concentration, and I'm like really stoked to see it actually coming to fruition. So I'm gonna, I haven't used Zoom before, but I'm gonna try to share my screen with you guys right now. And it is not working. You guys, I'm guessing, cannot see my screen right now. No? Interesting. Okay, it shows that I'm sharing you my screen, but it's not showing you.
I just made you the co-host.
Okay.
Try it again.
Okay. Okay. How about now?
Well, it's
Awesome.
there
Okay.
we go.
Cool.
All right. Well done.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. The internet's a little laggy. All right. So I'm just going to be talking about what we did as far as with the SAFE Club, which is a student association for fire ecology. We formed a 10-man crew, 10 comprised completely out of students, 10-person crew. And about half of them were students with fire experience and half of them were new to fire. And we took them out to the Yurok Reservation inland from HSU and took them out burning for cultural resources. And yeah, so on the left you have the crew itself that went on the first burn, and on the right is a picture of us burning hazel. So crew one, so Student Association for Fire Ecology provides training and opportunities for students to get experience in fire and various other natural resource, basically opportunities. And it directly relates to forestry, tribal forestry, in the sense that the main place that we were taking students is out to reservations to help promote cultural resources. We formed crew one with the intention of bridging the gap between the field and the classroom after I had multiple students come up and say, Naya, I don't understand. Why do I have to take this class or this one? I just want to get out in the field and I don't see how this relates to my career. So we formed this crew to kind of give people some opportunities to go out and burn. So all the pictures are on the sides of that initial crew. And let's flip to here. So the Yurok Treks, which is the training exchange burn up in Weitchpec, they came to me with the intentions of we need to burn our lands to promote hazel and beargrass. And we use these for our basketry, which is shown in the middle. So that's a hazel basket at the back, and then beargrass and all of that kind of thing up at the front. And this was really cool because it was a full cultural immersion for the first time for a lot of students. So we went out, the Yurok prepared salmon for us and showed us basically like let us into their lives. And so I had been there a couple times before helping implement the burn. And so this was the first time that I was able to take students from HSU with me and just immerse them with me. So this is, on the left is, you can see our advisor, Jeff Kane. He came out and he dug line with us. This is prepping the burns for the burn units. In the center is a couple students getting kind of the objectives for the burn and how they're gonna tie in with tribal resources and that kind of thing. And on the right is Chad Blanchard, one of the students, laying the first torch onto the ground after tribal elders lit the first burn unit in traditional methods. So the bottom picture here is the entire group of people that were at the burn. Sorry, I might get loud for a second. Okay. The top right is the 10-person mod from the crew, and then the center picture shows the prairie burn that we did, that we fully burned the prairie, and this year they went back and it's completely resprouting with beargrass. And so the elders are able to go and collect beargrass. As far as the hazel, we would ring around the plants with drip torches, basically to encourage burning off little offshoots and encourage straight pliable shoots for the elders to strip down and make baskets out of. So they showed some of the students how to do that and really just brought us kind of into their world. And that's all the pictures. I hope that kind of gives you like perspective onto what we did there. And I had taken Kutch's class and various other classes with David, with Aaron, with everybody, and just kind of wanted to help tie that in for everybody and make an opportunity that both Native students could take back to their tribes, and also non-Native students could be more informed about making forestry decisions that encouraged cohesion with tribes. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tanae. Okay, Chris, are you ready?
Yeah, as ready as can be. So let me switch over to screen share for a second. Let's see. One second. I don't think I'm a co-host like Tanaya was. Can you see my screen?
No.
No, you should be a co-host, but Tanaya, maybe can you stop sharing your screen?
I thought it was, but like I said before, let's see. Better?
Okay, Chris.
Still there?
Yeah, Chris, you should be able to share.
All right, there we go. So first off, let's see. I'd like to start off by saying that you know, thank you for the opportunity for speaking today. You know, the purpose of me being here is I felt like as a forestry student, a senior at Humboldt State, I thought maybe I could share my experience working for a local tribe. And you know, last year because of COVID, you know, a lot of us found ourselves kind of wondering what we were going to do with our summers. You know, I was looking at maybe working for Calfire or getting into research. But then after the virus hit, I was kind of re-looking at my choices, and Hoopa Forestry happened to send an application over to the Department of Forestry, and I seen it, and I was like, wow, this looks like a pretty good job that, you know, I would like to start off my forestry career with. Let me see. Let's start off by an introduction. Chuminsinwi, my name is Chris, and I'm a member of the Pitt River Nation, located east of Mount Shasta. Last summer, I spent my summer as an intern for Redwoods Rising, working with noxious weed management at the Mill Creek area near the Smith River. My interests are hydrology, forestry, and cultural burning, or fire ecology is what, you know, students may refer to it as. My career goal is, after I graduate from schools, I would like to either go back and work for my tribe or possibly work for other tribes in building up their forest capacity. So that was another reason why I kind of felt like I wanted to get a summer in tribal forestry while I'm still in my educational path. And before I start my slideshow, I just want to say, like, this is just my experience over the summer. I don't speak for any other tribe or nation. And I did reach out to my Hoopa coworkers, and they helped me put this slideshow together and also provided the information. So the Hoopa Valley Indian Reservation is located in northeastern part of Humboldt County. Basically, like every morning as I got ready for work, I would wake up at like 4:30 a.m. and like drive to Hoopa every day, and to get there before 7 a.m. every day to clock in. And the job was really a good experience for me. So I don't know if any of you have ever had like an exciting job that got you up every morning. So that was kind of my inspiration for, you know, making that drive to work 5 days a week. And let's see. Hoopa has a really diverse forest. When you're driving around in the 12 mile by 12 mile reservation, you know, you're going to find, like, you know, a lot of firs, true firs like red fir and white fir. There's a lot of tan oak and broadleaf stands. Like, some of my favorite species that remind me of working for Hoopa are, like, you know, the grease brush and tan oak. Even though, like, it was kind of rough getting tan oak dust in your lungs and in your nose every day, bushwhacking through their vegetation. But yeah, so here's a map here of some of the coverage types of Hoopa. I thought was pretty cool. Hoopa, they have some pretty good GIS specialists that are tribal members who provide a lot of nice maps and data like this that make your job a lot easier when you're working in forestry. So I thought that was pretty cool. Some of my favorite plants or trees that I've seen on the reservation, is like, they have really nice yew wood, which is used for, making bows and other, regalia or like personal items, and I've seen some pretty, large old growth specimen that were, a treat to, walk up on while you're out doing surveys or, checking on projects on units. Hoopa is also involved in burning their beargrass. This isn't an actual photo from their reservation, but working with their folks out in the field, they did show us some areas where they were doing active burning on their beargrass for their tribal members to use in basketry and other practices. So I don't know. I just thought I'd share a couple of those with the viewers here. The topography, Hoopa is very steep, and I'm from the mountains, but when you're hiking or performing forestry work up in around Hoopa, it'll give you a run for your money. Like, most of the days a week, we find ourselves like climbing down very steep areas, and it can make the job a little bit difficult, but it's pretty fun. And like where you think you might be driving like 8 to 10 miles to a unit to perform some surveys or something, you're going to end up driving like 20 or 30 minutes cutting back and forth up steep terrain. And but I thought that was pretty cool because it created moments where I got to like talk to my fellow Hoopa foresters, and we talk about our family and our tribal backgrounds and tribal like politics and stuff. And I think it really like helped with the camaraderie between the foresters. And yeah, so Hoopa's very steep if you ever plan to work there. So what does a tribal silviculturist do? Well, when I received the application from Hoopa through our school email, the reason why I really wanted to work as the assistant silviculturist is because we were dealing with tan oak stands, which I know are important to California tribes, as we eat and process acorns for sustenance. I know sudden oak death was a pretty big problem around in our ecosystem, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to get out there and do some good work on the land that would benefit Hoopa and also protect their tan oak stands from sudden oak death. So another part too is like I was considered working for Calfire this summer, and the fact that the job I was working for was paid for through a Calfire forest health grant. I thought that was cool because if I'm out inspecting on a grant or like project that is associated with Calfire, then that kind of gives me some good experience as both a tribal forester, and then it might look good later on when you're applying for Calfire. So some of my inspection duties was like me and my fellow foresters, we'd go out sometimes and we'd perform, stalking surveys on some of the young trees that Hoopa planted. Basically, we're out just doing plots and measuring to see what kind of vegetation's around their trees and whether those are, hardwoods or brush or grasses. And, that was like maybe like 30 or 40% of the work. The other part of the work was going out to the Calfire area where a tribal member of theirs wrote a I'll just say a pretty large grant for forest health improvement to mitigate against sudden oak death and fire prevention. So I'd be going out and checking on the contract work done by their contract crews and making sure that the work was done to the specifications of the prescription. And yeah, so that was a good chunk of the other work I did. Some of the layout duties I had were, out, like you may find with any other forestry operation, is going out and flagging areas, maybe like riparian areas or special management zones that have like cultural resources we might flag off. while we were out there, the tribe provided us with garmins, GPS devices to update the new flagged out areas. And it was my job to go back to the office and update those coverage types using the GIS skills I learned at Humboldt State, which was pretty cool because I felt like Hoopa Forestry really appreciated my GIS skills. And it felt good to like not use them in a classroom setting and actually use them on a job and feel, you know, kind of special. So yeah, that was cool. It was, you know, it was a good experience there. Let's see. So here's some specifics of the Calfire Forest Health Grant that a tribal member of theirs wrote. Basically, the goal of the sudden oak death prescription is to reduce risk of sudden oak death outbreaks by clearing the understory of their tan oak stands. And one of those goals and objectives was also to, you know, to kind of take out some of the bay laurel, the pepperwood in their forest, because for some reason pepperwood is easily carries and moves Phytophthora from tree to tree and species to species. And the tribal member wrote that into their grant. So those are some of the specs of that operation. And as you can see here, it's 1,500 acres on the corner of the reservation. That was, yeah, my job was to go out there and inspect the work being done, drop points, and to update those coverage types back at the office. I also got experience doing administration. Like I would take my acreages calculated in ArcMap, and I would put them into the contracts, and then, you know, get the exact amount that needs to be paid to the contractor, you know, write the contractor and send that over to the finance department. So it was pretty cool getting the some experience in grant administration as the assistant silviculturist as well, which is important. You know, I think things like that will really set you apart as you move through your career. In the Hoopa, like other tribes in California, you know, they gather and eat their acorns. Back home, you know, we eat black oak. Around this area, there's a lot of tan oak acorns, and it felt really good to like know that the work we were doing was directly protecting and assisting in like improving the health of their tan oak stands at that area of the reservation. And so let's see, treatment specs. So for that Calfire treatment you just seen, for every area that was less than 50 acres or 50% slope or near a riparian area, or for any area less than 50% slope, they purchased a masticator, which is like a small piece of equipment with a like barrel tooth fitting on the front. And some of their tribal members would operate this piece of equipment out, masticating as much acreage as they could. But in areas where the slope was too high or near riparian areas, they were hiring contractors to come out and thin and pile and scatter the vegetation down and to be ready for burning in the following year from their fire department. So here's a photo of an area before and after treatment. As you can see, the photo on your right, there's less ladder fuels, and by thinning from below on some of their tan oak thickets, it creates you know, conditions that can mitigate against canopy fire, and also will prevent the spread of Phytophthora mold on those stands. Here's an example of some hand piling that was done around the areas where the masticator can't get through. The guys they have out working on these projects are very meticulous. They're out there, you know, I run saw myself on the weekends, but, you know, these guys blow me out of the water with, you know, the work they're doing. So basically, wherever there's a lot of debris after thinning from below, they're doing like 6-foot piles. But anywhere else where there's not so much vegetation, they're doing a scatter on the ground. And over the following year, they're going to have some prescriptions wrote, and they're going to be in here burning, you know. because the reason why a lot of these tan oak stands are the way they are currently is because of you know, colonization has suppressed wildland fire for 100 years. So what the Hoopa tribe and the tribal member that wrote this grant are doing is they're trying to fix that balance and get the conditions to the right point where they can reintroduce fire. Another duty that I didn't sign up for, but it was a bonus as a young undergrad forester, is the Six Rivers National Forest surrounding Hoopa Reservation have a good working relationship with Hoopa Forestry. And what was cool about this is that you know, I'm currently looking into like 9638, like tribal contracting and self-determination policies through the BIA that can allow tribes to you know, do the work that Forest Service are paid to do on areas that were historically our homelands. And the Hoopa Forestry and Six Rivers are currently in a good neighbor relationship where Hoopa Forestry is up doing like a forest inventory and different work that you know, the Six Rivers Forest is you know, letting them do, paying them to do. And what this meant is I was allowed to go up and do forest inventory work at the top of the summit, and I got to really use my skills I learned at Humboldt State with you know, going out, shooting the reloscope, taking increment cores for age, and various types of measurements that you learn at Humboldt State Forestry. So that, you know, that was pretty cool. I think that really like diversified my work experience at Hoopa Forestry. Here are some of the tools we'd use about doing the Six Rivers forest inventory data collection. You know, we had the reloscope, D-tape, notebooks, all the tools that we would use in school and our labs where the Hoopa has, you know, reloscopes for all their workers, you know, and it just made the job like, you know, easy coming from Humboldt State and getting hired by a tribe. You know, they knew that, you know, I was familiar with all these tools. I knew all these techniques and, you know, sampling and measurements. And it really felt good to be appreciated, to be up there doing that work and also helping out, you know, Hoopa Forestry. So here's a big question for you other undergrad foresters. Why should I work in tribal forestry? Stepping aside from pure commercial timber production operations to a more environmentally aware and responsible management strategy focused on sustainability and multiple resource use. You know, these tribes aren't solely out, you know, collecting volume and timber. You know, a lot of these forests have special management zones that are set aside for gathering like acorns and other cultural resources. And you know, like what I noticed about working for Hoopa Forestry is that their department is like a wildlife department conjoined with the forestry department, and they're constantly working and collaborating back and forth. They actually have a wildlife researcher in the same building doing research on, you know, owls and cougars, and, you know, some of their foresters have actually worked in both departments. So, you know, I think what that created was kind of like what people like to call holistic management. And, you know, there's a lot more cultural values that are associated with the work being done with tribes. And, you know, it was really fulfilling to know that, you know, these were our goals and objectives when, you know, headed to work every morning. Also, if you're going to work for a tribe, I think it's something to think about that, you know, you might be using your education to assist tribes with their mission of self-determination, sovereignty, self-government, self-reliance, you know, in this modern world. And, you know, they could use, you know, foresters from their local school to come over and, you know, somewhat assist or, you know, provide, you know, the labor or like grant writing or different services that we can provide as, you know, stewards. So, and this is what I touched on earlier is, you know, my job this summer was very diverse. I was hopping over here doing, you know, you know, silviculture work, cruising, you know, inventory. And before COVID hit, I was actually scheduled to go trap a owl with their wildlife department, which I wish it would have happened. I could have showed you guys a photo. Yeah, you know, so let's see where we're at. Okay, I need to go back. Okay, here we go. This is one of my favorite photos I've took in Hoopa up above the reservation. And you know, I would really look forward to going back and working for the tribe in the future. You know, it was cool building relationships with their foresters, and you know, one of their foresters actually went to Oregon State and got their master's in sustainable forestry. And you know, it was, you know, she really had an impact on how I really look at my career going forward, and you know what I need to do to get the knowledge and experience to be out there and build up the capacities of other tribes. So, you know, I'd like to take a moment to give a special thanks to Alicia Flores and Hoopa Forestry for giving me the shot to work for them this summer, and also Aaron, David, and HSU for letting me share my summer experience.
Okay.
I don't know how long that went, but if anyone has any questions.
It was perfect.
Great.
Thank you very much, Chris.
That's great.
All right.
So that talk is just a reminder that in many ways, working for a tribe has to be about the most interesting job you could get as a forester, because it isn't just about wood. It's also about, you know, fiber for basketry. It's about food for the people all around you. This is their grocery store. And it's much broader and richer than a normal forestry job. So now that's the end of our presentation. So are there questions?
Yes, I had a question.
Jump in.
How do you declare your concentration?
Erin?
So Jesse, if you are, when you want to declare a concentration, you, I guess you fill out your DARs to see the concentration that you actually want to take, your DARs planner. It used to be that you filled out an actual physical contract, but we've gone completely online. But you can make a, you know, you can make an appointment with your advisor, and or just contact me if I'm not your advisor, and I can help you with the DARS planner to make sure that you're sort of signed up for the concentration.
All right, my advisor is actually right here. Hi, Gillian.
Oh, right.
Jillian,
Yeah.
Jillian. All right, thank you.
Yeah, we can meet and do your DARS planner and make a declaration online.
Awesome.
Yeah, all the major change forms are online now with Adobe Sign. Yeah.
Another question.
Hi, yes, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently I'm emphasized in wildland fire management, and I was wondering if I were to change my major into tribal forestry, will there be like enough emphasizing on fire, or will I get like enough fire courses just to gain knowledge from?
Well, okay, the above and beyond the introductory 223, the Introduction to Wildland Fire, which is a core course everybody takes. The only other fire course you would take if you go with tribal forestry would be the Fire Ecology. You wouldn't get the 300 level fire behavior or the 400 level course that's focused on prescribed burning.
Okay, but
you could certainly be part of SAFE, the student club that was mentioned by Tanea earlier, and they do things like go out and get practical experience with prescribed burns.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can always take an extra class or two. I'm not saying that we, you don't necessarily want to be in school longer, but it's always an option.
Nah, we'd rather get them out of here as quickly as possible. More.
Oh, I got a question.
Matthew.
I have is how significant is fisheries in this upcoming tribal forestry concentration? I remember it's like that PowerPoint slide of all the potential courses that might be taken. I saw Fishery 100, and I remember Fishery 100 isn't exactly I believe a registered fisheries course. I believe it's a non-fisheries course.
Well, it's a GE course. It's aimed at non-fishery students. Mm-hmm. And so this is an example of where we wanted to hit all the GE bases with relevant courses, rather than have you out there, taking art or something. Insofar as we could, we wanted to have you do relevant GE courses. So that's why the Fish 300 is there.
Very cool.
And then, of course, as part of the core, you'll have taken watershed hydrology, which will certainly talk about some aspects of fish ecology, in particular the deleterious effects of erosion of sediments on aquatic ecology, aquatic habitat.
Plus, I'm not an expert in any of this, but plus it's all connected. When you talk about the native perspective, you can't talk about the river and the forest and the air and the ocean and any of that. Wildlife, it's all connected, and I think that's one of the main purposes. From the native perspective, you can't talk with one without the other. And the other thing is language and our traditional ways that we connect with the land and our worldview. So there's no disconnection. There's nothing that you can take in the program that's going to be irrelevant to what's going to help benefit you in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to throw in a bunch more hydrological courses, but we have to stay within 120 units. We just can't do it.
As a freshman, like all this is super new to me, so I just would like some feedback, like advice for a freshman going into this field.
Well, okay. If you want more than we've told you, by all means contact Aaron or I to learn more about the major and about career prospects.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
And Jesse, this is Lonix. You can also be creative with, if you have a certain emphasis, maybe you really want to focus on fire, but you wanted some of that, some of the legal and other knowledge that you're getting out of a lot of the NAS courses and a lot of the things about self-determination and all that kind of stuff. You can always minor, so you can be creative. Maybe you have a super passion about fire. Maybe you want to minor in NAS or something like that. And so there are ways that you can kind of be creative with the use of a minor to get at specializing in the ways that you want to.
Right. But this is like the other side of the coin from Aaron's suggestion of taking a few extra fire courses. It will keep you here longer than you otherwise would if you were to entertain a minor. And, so it's extra money and extra time, a longer delay before you begin your career.
And I just wanted to add something, sorry to interrupt a little bit for Jesse, and based on who Chris is, and I met Chris before he arrived, and he asked me to come out to his community to help recruit. But one of the things in his presentation that I really appreciate, and the thing that I always say to all the students that I encounter, is that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your entire life. And Chris, if you ask him if he could redo it again, he'd love to redo it again. He'd make some changes, but he loved every single thing that he did throughout his experience. and it wasn't a job. It was like, man, I get to wake up and I get to go and do this every single day. I'm so excited. Like sometimes I wake up as a recruiter for Humboldt State, and now as part of this meeting, I'm not going to sleep tonight because everybody who says I'm thinking about forestry, I'm going to think about Chris. I'm going to think about Jesse. I'm going to think about everything that happened. So the reality is, and I forgot who's on the fire right now, or trucks passing by and helicopters landing, but they were on the meeting because they love what they do. So that you have to ask yourself deep down inside, is this really for you? Because once you get your degree and once you get paid to do what you love, holy cow, there's nothing better. Period.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like ever since I got up to Humboldt, I'm always outside. In between my classes, whenever I have time, I'm just going out there.
Imagine getting paid to do that.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
That's why I'm here.
Good. More questions? No?
I got another question, but it's more like, it's about, so say I got a lot of different experience, just like working different jobs, and would I necessarily still have to like go to school to learn about what I've been learning doing like my job in order to apply for, like, you know,
Okay.
once I get my forestry degree, can I apply for like all kinds of different forestry jobs? Or do I
Yeah,
have
of
to, like, go to
course.
school for?
Sure. Yeah, coming from an accredited program. Once you graduate, or even before you graduate, you start applying. And there's no shortage of work for foresters.
And one of the things,
for tribal foresters, there's an enormous backlog of unfilled positions on reservations all across the West, according to Gerald Jones at the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
and one of the things I always tell students is like, so you're getting ready, you're not sure, you're kind of, you know what you want to do, but imagine when you graduate, you're a freshman, right? Did you say you're a freshman?
Yeah.
So imagine, so 3 years from now, you're graduating. You're going to have opportunities like Chris has to do summer work. You're going to have all these people on this meeting who have your back. You're going to have like over these next summers, and don't pass up any opportunity that you have to participate in anything over the summer. Once you graduate, that's one of the things that stands out about Humboldt. Hands-on learning experiences, real life learning experience. You're going to have experience with NOAA, Redwood National State Parks. You're going to have the local experience, tribal community. You're going to have, that's one of the things that stands out Humboldt, is because we're like a private institution. When you apply for a job, you're going to say, oh yeah, my buddy Chris, who is now the director of whatever, he's going to go and be a director. You know that. He's going to say, yeah, I took Jesse under my wing. You're going to have Aaron. You're going to have Nia Vida. You're going to have Lonix. You're going to, I could help you. Like, you're going to have some, because we're such a small institution, you're going to have 17 professionals who are going to be able to write letters of recommendation and speak on your behalf, regardless of whatever you graduate with. You're going to have a plethora of job opportunities who are going to, there's going to be people who are looking for you. Once you leave this program, people are going to be wanting you because of the hands-on learning experiences, traditional ecological knowledge, knowing about how tribal communities work. You need to stand up and say, I'm going to go to this job interview and you need to tell me why I need to work for you. I'm not applying for this job. You need to tell me why I should work for you. That's your last question. They're going to, at the end of the interview, you're going to say, do you have any questions for us? And then you should say, yeah, why do I need to work for you? Because you're going to have all this entire, this is probably like a fraction of the people who are going to have your back once you graduate. And then even if you go to your master's, there's going to even be 3 times that many people who you're going to pick and choose who are going to speak on your behalf. Of course, I'm a Humboldt recruiter, So I might be giving you BS, but it's the reality of the generations and the all those people who have left this institution who are in leadership positions, like you're going to be in 8 years from now. So don't pass up any opportunity that you have. Ask Chris, friend him, Facebook, email him, whatever. He'll tell you, because he just told us. He is where he was. He is where he is because of the opportunities that Humboldt provided for him. Said and done. And I am who I am. And the reason why I can talk like this is because I am who I am is because what the opportunities that Humboldt provided for me. Said and done, period, done.
Okay, thank you very much, Leo. So we've gone more than an hour, and so we should wrap this up. If any students have any more questions, just contact Aaron or I or both of us, and we'll be happy to make time and talk to you. Okay? All right, we'll call it quits. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
All right,